welcome back to another episode of Small British Steps. And last episode we basically got our film camera and our biological sample going all well and good. This time we've got a bit of science to spend, and we're going to try and we might even finish off one of these programs, although I'm not entirely sure if it's worth finishing it early. We'll figure that out in a moment. But we have got some science. I was debating whether we wait for mature supersonic flight or whether go for this basic rocketry. I think I'm going to go for basic rocketry, just get it knocked out. So it's there, we're paying for it. We'll get the supersonic flight, mature supersonic flight, very shortly. And then after that, it will be orbital rocketry, and we'll try and jump to our orbital program. However, you will see on the screen right now, if you have a good look, I've moved supersonic plane development up because it's got 19 days. It loses us a couple of days in sort of total build time, but it means we can actually put a craft together and start building it, and then we can just upgrade it as we go, because it'll give us the supersonic wings, gives us all that sort of stuff. We can get a craft starting to be built, and then when we get other materials science online, it means we can actually we can take advantage of the fact that a lot of our craft will be a lot quicker. We've got excess engineers, we can move around. What I should say is, and the reason we're doing this is, if we come over to the budget screen, you can see that actually if I go to facilities, we are constantly paying funds for our hangar. It's costing us money. We're always having to use it. Integration teams, they're separate to that, so it's no big issue. But the hangar is actually costing us, 4 funds a day. We might as well use it. It's not like a launch complex where if we delay building it, we save a bit of funds. It's always going to be there. We're not going to have a problem with it. We will have to acquire a pilot at some point, and I am looking around. Ooh, Pamela Jackson looks quite good, actually. I bet you she gets refreshed, got very low courage. Ruth is definitely going for it. Gonna have to build up 5,000 to get a pilot as well at some point, but we can work our way through that and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna roll out the camera return and we'll have a look at that mission. So we have the low space film return mission. You can see it's on 151 days. Which gives us 150, is it prestige or whatever, and it gives us 32 of the, confidence, prestige, I don't remember which is which. I never do. Reputation and confidence. I don't even know if prestige isn't a thing. We just made that up. So it gives 150 confidence and 30 odd reputation, which will give us a big jump. So you can see our minimum now is 34,000 a year. We're on 44,000. So that would give us probably a jump of, looking at where it goes to, maybe 1,000 more, maybe 2,000 more funds. And that all adds up, remember. We also have that yearly 21 drops, so it will cover a year's worth of drops as well, which is good. All right. We've accepted the contract. Let's go and have a go at it. And as always, the sun is behind us on the launch pad. For those of you who are sort of eagle-eyed, you will have seen I hadn't actually clicked on this mission. I went and chose it before we jumped into this. So here you go, we've got the mission. We have got to get to an altitude of 150 kilometers and 400 kilometers downrange. We're going to be keeping our eyes up on that. I believe the downrange is separate to the actual altitude, so that they shouldn't be tied together. Equally, we want to check that our camera is armed. So get everything ready. I think we're good. Surface on, good. Right, let's start the engines. We have an engine out and cut the engines. We're going to roll this back. We're going to do that all again. Oh, the joy. Right, here we are about 5 days later. No, 10. It's more like 10 days later, I think. What were we on? We are on the we're in November, 24th of November. So we're almost the end of the year. Wow. Almost the end of the second year, and we're going to try this again. We've taken it back. We've fixed the engine. Well, we think we've fixed the engines. We've got everything going. Get everything set, surfaced, good. Everything's good. We are going for, where are we? 150 kilometers and 400 kilometers downrange. So we're going to start our engines. Good light, and we are away. A little bit of a jink there at the start. It's going up. And this is just a case of getting this thing up there and starting the turn. We only need to hit 150. It's the downrange that's going to be the key for us. So this should be able to do it. I think it's able to do it. We'll see, as long as we don't have an engine out. Although actually, probably now an engine out wouldn't be as massively badly as it could, because I think these engines can probably overrun a little bit, and there's enough of them to cancel it out a bit. It's not like a 2-engine sort of setup. There we go. Pop that to there. There we go. We'll have a bit of a rapid turn. Let's have a look how we're doing. We're going to top that up a little bit more. There we go. Just keep it turning, but not too much. So we're still in the thick of it. I think we can speed this up a little bit in these lower echelons of the atmosphere. I don't want to get down below sort of 45 degrees too soon, but we are getting up there nicely. I like that. I'll probably hold it at 45 actually once we get there. Yeah, we're going well. We've got 50 seconds left. We are gaining. I'm hoping we're going to actually get the required distance, and I hope we are. I hope we're going to get to the correct orbit even. It'd be a little bit annoying if we didn't actually. And we're going to slow it down. We're going to put it on surface. We're going to put it on 45. There we go. We're just going to put it on 45 and hold it on 45 now. And that should, yeah, that's more than going to do it, I think. It's going to give us a big push up, I think. Let's see, 20, 120, 130, 140. We'll probably go a little bit lower, actually. Let's go to 25. Do that. There we are. And engines are out. So we're going to decouple fairings because we're going to spin anyway. And, you know what? We'll just wait until we're going round and round and round we go. And decouple that as well. There we are. And arm the parachutes. Right. So this thing should be collecting a little bit of data for us. It is. It's collected 3 units already. How exciting. Right. So we're on our way. We're almost a quarter of the way there. That's exciting. Almost a quarter of the way there. All right. Let's have a look. I think we are. We should be okay. I think we are. Let's have a look. Get it up there. It all depends on where we get to at about the 200 kilometer mark. If we're still going up, then we're doing well and we're probably going to make it. If you think about it like a hyperbolic curve, we're actually hoping that the middle of that curve is beyond 200. And I think I don't know. I don't know actually. We might have a problem with this. We are now gathering even more science, which is nice. 170 kilometers up. We're over 200 now. So it's about us not losing too much. I'd like to get to 300 before we start on our way down, if I'm entirely honest. I think we might get 250. This is going to be tight, I think. I don't know if this craft can do this. I've never tested it. I've never done a sim to try and get this downrange distance. We're now falling. Okay, so we need to get 110 kilometers before we come back down. Basically, our horizontal speed is pretty constant, so we just it's a matter of how long it takes for us to fall down. Also, we've got quite a lot of velocity on this now, so it's gonna be a hot re-entry. This thing luckily is quite chunky, so it should be all right. Let's have a look what we got on the craft. We got 1.4 flat. Okay, so we are eating up the lower desert stuff. What's going on? We keep an eye on this actually. Oh, we've done it. We actually did do it. We did it before we got to 140. Okay, that's good. 150. That's good. So that means we are just for returning home. We can actually slow this down a bit. Can we? Can slow it down a bit. Right, let's actually have a look. What data have we got on board? 0.1, nothing, 0.2, no 1.5. So there's a little bit of data there. We're still gathering, aren't we? Because this thing's going to be gathering as it goes, which is good. So we're going to still gather what's actually going up. Is it that one that's going up? Oh, we got to pause. It's not that. It's this one. So okay, so we've got 0.3 already from this. Yeah, that's about right. There's only 3 to get. How long does it take to run? 7 minutes. Yeah, we're never going to get all that. Not like this. Maybe if we have it on a plane. I don't think I'm going to put a rocket plane together to do it. I've always thought to myself, wouldn't it be cool if we had one of these and we sort of fitted it on something that flew at exactly 139.9 kilometers sort of altitude, and we just followed it around. I could put it on super time warp and just let it go around, you know. But that's a bit of an interesting one, isn't it? Just get a little bit of thrust every now and again to stop it falling into the atmosphere and whatnot. It is an idea. I don't know how practical that is. Oh, we've got the rest of the craft breaking up right now. There we go. We've got all the science we're going to get. So we've got a total of 0.6. So 2.1. So 2.1 on top of our already 0.2. So it's 2.3, something like that. That's not bad. It's part way towards the next node we want, which is going to be the jet. We're going to get the jet engines sorted out, and then we can move on to hopefully orbital rocketry. I think that's going to be the next step. We might want to think about avionics and stuff, but we can probably do orbital rocketry without improving our avionics at the moment. If we want to go any further and do any satellite stuff, we are going to have to improve that though. So it's just about when we decide to pull the sort of trigger on that and do the work on it. The good thing is we could put together an example once we've got the science sort of lined up, and we can pre-build our launch pad and our launch complex, and we can just have that in mind, which will be a big positive actually. That's one of the big things with this. You can actually plan ahead and take your time, even before you've got stuff built. Like you can actually know exactly what you're going to build. It's just a little bit easier. Right, there we go. Unveiled the parachute. We're coming through. That's going to pop any second. Oh, we've still got bits of stuff exploding in the background. There we go. Pulled it. And I'm going to let this thing just fall back to Earth, and I shall see you on the main screen. So we got 2.3 science out of that. We're at 2.5 in total. We got nothing for returning the craft because we've now done 2 suborbital, or I think 3 suborbital returns, and that's taken all of the data out of that. We're at 100% data gathered. We got a little bit of funds back, so 151 funds, less than the biological sample. That's interesting, isn't it? And that's done. So 650 in the bank. And we're just waiting along for the next DART mission. So we're going to run through, we'll get this supersonic plane development done, and I can show you what we're going to build. Right, so here we are in the space plane hangar, and you can see we've got a craft here. You'll notice it's got no undercarriage. It's going to be launched from a plane, and we've got some parachutes on it. Yeah, I know I could try and land it on undercarriage. I have actually run this, simulated a craft similar to this with this design. I'll show you a couple of them in a minute. And yeah, you can land it, but the inconsistency of the surface, the runway and everything just makes it so it's very sort of 1 in 3 will go horribly wrong for no reason, and I'm not quite sure why. Stability of the craft, things like that. And it just seems to be often glitches in the surface as opposed to the actual landing. So we've gone for the parachutes just because we can. Now this craft here is actually about 10 tons, which is more than we can airlift when we get this stuff built. Okay, we can't actually, with the first stage of building for this cockpit and the parts on here, we can't actually airlift this, but that's fine because the next upgrade we get will actually increase airlift capacity to do that. The other thing is we don't have the required propellant on board because we're going to use our Spectre engines. Look, we've got 4 beautiful little Spectre engines there, just sat there, all lovely, all ready to go. They are the version 1 engines. They're the standard ones we've been using our rockets. So this is pretty much like a small version of our rockets. We could put another engine in there, give it more push and weigh it up, but actually 10.8 is about the limit for the mass of this. It does give it a nice big sort of 2,700 meters per second. You'll see it costs a bit of fun. Now I wonder whether can we actually put this on here? We can. So we can add that onto there. Unlocking those parts costs 10,000 funds. We've got you know what, I'm not going to do that yet because I've just realized something. It's not going to be any use. We are going to have to unlock this cockpit, and I'm going to acknowledge that. Okay, we can use some of the credits if we see that there. If I go for that, we've got cost after credits 300 and something, so that cockpit we can actually get big chunk for, which is good. The other thing is why I should have probably waited to do this, but we'll see. We need to pay for these wings, and they're about 10,000 as well. I don't really want to spend that, so what I'm thinking is we're going to move supersonic flight up, which is not a great idea. It's going to delay our early materials, but it does mean we'll get the credits for that, and it will actually probably pay for most of this craft sort of new components. So the cockpit and the wings will get paid for by the research from those two. So it's probably a good idea for that. What we do need to do though is we need to sort out our all of our stuff to do with this craft. So get rid of this, thank you. We'll get rid of that as well. So we need to upgrade it to actually take the fuel for this. So we're gonna, let's think, upgrade is the hangar to support the current vessel keeping existing things. So we need to do upgrade, and I want to go and look, and it's going to say, yeah, we're going to go, everything looks okay, it's the same sort of thing we've got. Max engineers is, I think, the same. It's going to take 19 days, and it's going to give us HTP. It's going to give us a big chunk of HTP, and I don't think I need any more than that. So I think we're going to renovate it. It's going to cost us 300 funds. We'll do that. All engineers in the hangar have been unassigned. Remember to reassign engineers to hangar when it finishes renovation. Okay, so we know when we finish this next one, we're going to come along and we're going to spend some money getting this thing to start building. While we're here, though, I can show you some of the other craft, can't I? So that was the Crummock. And so we've got the Derwent. These are lakes in the Lake District. I'm sorry, I had to have something British naming for this. And you can see this is a little bit of a variation of that. We've got a tapered tail section and then two sort of two parallel engines there. I was thinking of stacking them, a bit like the British Electric Lightning, but went side by side. They're the Avon engines, which are now part of the sort of, I was going to say stock game. It's not stock. They're part of RP1, which is nice. I actually used to have a bit of a mod that did, I think was it 3 or 4 variants of it, but now it's included, so I don't need to do that, which is really nice. They've also got the Sapphire engine, which I did consider going against. We've got these air intakes here, which are assorted, and you can see it's very similar design. It uses the same wing philosophy, because once I've got a wing, I stick with it. We're going delta wing, no canards, no tail planes, things like that. You can see it's got split things. We've got a nice big tail on it. And that's the Derwent, so that's the jet engine craft that we're going to build. And then, taking the Derwent, I built another craft, and I call it the Derwent R2, and this is rocket powered. And this uses, if I highlight that, this uses the Screamer engines that are, that basically we get at the start. Well, we get the Snarler engines at the start, and they're a bit different. But then we can get the Screamer engines, I think, in the second node. So I think we get those before we get the Spectre engines. They are a bit chunky, but they do fit nicely into this design. You can put them in place like that with a little bit of fairing over the top and so forth and whatnot. And I was tempted to actually build this out as a potential new thing. However, I decided against it, mainly because I don't think it's got the longevity of the other craft. We could rush it, we could go for it, and just I could have done most of it. You know, I think these are supersonic wings. We could have put these in as plain standard wings, and we could launch this whole thing up and attempt to get some sort of records and whatnot. We could still do that. I might think of a playthrough where we do it, but it's just interesting to see we can take this structure, remove the air intakes off the front there, and stick some jet engines on it. It's still pretty much a viable craft. So we could, after the we could have started off with something like this, then modified it into the actual jet craft if we wanted to. If I wanted to start building this really early on, replace these with just standard wings instead of supersonic, and just gone that way. So that's an option, but we're not going to go that way. Anyway, while we're doing the building work on the hangar and waiting for research to do, let's see what else there is to do. So just while we're talking, we can see here, currently we've got no unlocked credits built up from supersonic flight. It's on 0. The parent, this one here, has actually generated about 5,600, okay? So this is a bit more, so we expect this to be about 7, which should mean that we've only got 4,000 to spend to get all the materials for these crafts, because we're going to get 10,000 for this. We're going to get 6,000 for this. So yeah, we're sort of almost able to pay for this. This is going to be sort of 2/3 paid for. Then we have to get, we've got to get the Avon engine, and that's going to be another 2,000. So that's a bit of a chunky expense. And then we've got, you know, 400 for the intakes. That's not a big issue. So we do need a few thousand built up before we can do it. And then we need I think about 1,000 to something, 1,400 to build it. I'm not going to tool it because we're never going to use those tank sizes again. So it's not really of use to us. I think it's a 1.25 or something like that, which I don't think I'm going to use. I think I'm going to use a 2 meter diameter or something like that in future. So we're going to leave that. So that's going to be 100 and something days. We're going combined. We've got a dart coming up. We've got the hangar doing its repair work. Then we've got the atlatl. If we have a look at the cash flow, we currently have, because we're doing the hangar work, if you look, construction is 19. We've got 45 a day. So we'll just run this forward. There we go. You see we're building up a bit of cash there. That's nice. We could put it into engineers. We could put it into research, actually, but I'm all right at the moment as I am. This one here is a little bit concerning, 481 days, but we shall see how that goes. I do want to sort of start thinking about, you know, saving up a bit of block of funds, because we do need to think about tracking station, which is, what is that, 50,000, something like that? 50,000 for that, and then mission control is 60,000. We need 120,000 in the bank, so we're gonna have to start saving some cash up. Right, we'll roll a dart out. And then we shall get the Dart mission done, I think. Right, so we can see that this target now has actually dropped. So it went up to, I think, was it 240 last time? We're up to 280. So it's only gone up by 440, but, you know, not too bad. This one is the old one. And it's just at the 50. So we'll just keep going and do this one. There's no reason not to. We'll choose it. It's 90 days. Let's rock it out there and let's get it done. Right, everything is good. We're going to fire some engines. Off we go. Everything is good. And now is the point where I should really ask, do you want to keep seeing the Dart missions? Because these are going to go on every 100 days. Every 100 days, we're going to send a craft up to do this until we finish the program. I think these missions vanish when we finish the program. When we click Finish Program, we don't get these side missions anymore. I'm not entirely sure. Seems a bit weird for me that they would do that, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to send these up every 100 days because it gives us the required sort of bits and bobs just to keep moving along all of the things we want. So we get the confidence, we get a little reputation. They probably currently still cover our reputation loss in a year, so it means any other reputation we get from our other launch complex is completely positive. You can see we're up at 46,000 a year now. And they keep putting up 666 confidence. Ooh, a little bit worrying. They keep putting up our confidence as well, which is really nice. So not really a difficult situation, is it? We just roll them out. We've got 4 staff building them. It doesn't cost us much. It covers itself, I think, in reality. Just keeping going. I think I could probably do the maths and it probably doesn't work out like that. I'm probably being stupid and I'm not actually making anything from it, but it just feels as though it keeps us going, keeps us launching. But do you want to see them? Do you want to just have me tell you about them in the background? Or would you like to see them? That's, I suppose, the question I'm asking. Because they do take, a couple of minutes. And I know that, a lot of you don't want to see these sounding rockets just launch randomly all the time, over and over and over and over again. We are taking our time with the early game, but I think it's quite nice, actually. The programs and launch complexes does change the early game a little bit because you start to think about why you're doing things in which order. And it forces you to play it a bit more sort of, I need to develop, I need to take it step by step. I don't want to just save a big bunch of cash and go to the moon. So there we go. There's our rewards. That goes into there. What's that do for this? Probably not much at all. We're up to 47,000 and we've got a little bit more of that. So yes, so we were 666. So yeah, that's a big chunk, isn't it? 50 goes up there. All right. And we can range safety this thing now. And with that, we are done there. So let's actually have a look. We've got a couple more darts underway. That's good. We have our, what else? Oh, we've got the biological return second one there that's going to be building up. What we need to do, go to the plans. I want to get the camera, but I want to get the camera in the Atlatl 3, which is, it's a 2-stage rocket, a big 2-stage, well, I say big. It's a small 2-stage rocket, but for us, it's a big 2-stage rocket. So we're going to grab that and put that in. What's it say? Warning: the vessel. Oh, I know what it means. I've got to put the right thing on. I've got to go to the correct launch pad. Oopsies. Do that. There we go. It's now on. There you go. It's cost a bit of funds, and I then want to see, is the advanced bio going to be doable? Not enough funds, so I'll go for just a normal bio. I should have the funds for. There we go. So that's now those two stacked up. They're ready to go. They're 60 days. I might actually drop down the staff on that. I'm not in a hurry to do them. We might look at doing some big sounding rockets, actually. Maybe that's an idea. I don't know. We might drop the staff off it just to slow it down. Or we'll build them up as a stockpile and launch them one after the other. Because the one thing I'm aware of right now is, so this has got 36 days. This is a 101. So this we can launch whenever. But we're starting to catch up on ourselves. We should be all right because it's taking 60 days. It's always going to be in excess. This one should be okay because it's just a height one. I think the next one is a height one. And you can see this is a 2-contract series. The film return is a series of 2 contracts. 1 have been completed. This one, launch a rocket with an early film camera above 200 kilometers, downrange 600. I don't think our previous rocket can do that. So we're going to have to go bigger for that. And we're also going to have to go bigger for this, the capstone one, the one that's going to cap it all off. So we're going to do this one as well with a similar craft, but we're going to put the advanced payload on. So that's that. Right. Let's have a look. How are we doing for timings? On this, we are now in year 2. We're about to finish year 2, 3. So we've got 3 years to go. The next one we're going to take is this one. Breakneck is tempting me, although I need to build up for this, don't I? I think we talked about doing fast or normal for that. Fast or normal for 6 years is quite good, actually, and it is a bump up in funds every time. And this one in fast would be good towards the end, maybe, if you can do both. Can you do both? I don't know if you can. It doesn't say they're mutually exclusive. It doesn't say you can't do it without the other one, does it? We'll disable, we disable the following. So you can only do one of them. So that's 4 years. That's 5 years. Okay, the one that I like the look of, though. So can we build something that will put a scientific satellite up with 100 kilogram, a ton, 1 ton craft, artificial satellite, scientific satellite, biological satellite? We need something to launch a ton. So we need to think if that's possible. Alternatively, we go the old-fashioned way, do these. This is a longer run. And then we could get onto targeted satellites, and then maybe these would come in later. I don't know. This is the bigger cash output. So I think that's possibly the way we're going to go. Instead of, I didn't realize that they disabled them. That's a little bit annoying, isn't it? Let's have a look. Do that. That's doesn't disable anything. Right. So I think, yeah, I think that's where we're going to go. I think we go for the heavy ones, and then do something else. So next step will be to actually accept this, which will then give us, we'll probably do it in breakneck to try and get it done. And then we'll go to the heavy, which at fast needs 60. We should get that from some of these things, but we'll see. So we need to get 45 and 600. So the 1050 we need up here. Okay. Oh, programs. Now, we have got something down here to look at. I must have remembered. 10% to material technode research speed. Ooh. So when we go back to that, it's minus 10% to early and orbital rocket engine tech speed. When we are actually doing model materials node tech research, we can reduce the speed by 10%. We can do it faster. So we might choose that. That's because we've now completed something. I don't know what we've completed. There is some other ones. I don't really want to get into that too much. I think it's at this point when we're a little bit excessive. But yeah, we shall have a look when we're not researching planes anymore. Right, so we're going to do the low space biological experiment. We're going to do the 120 with 75 units. We've got 126 days out of 90, so it's been beyond optimal. It'll take us up to about 800 on the confidence thing. So there we go. On the confidence. Oh, I got it right. It is confidence. Right, we've rolled it out, so we're ready to go. You'll notice that our other ones are building pretty quickly, quicker than the darts. So we may actually back off some people once the next one goes, and see what happens. If we can get that advanced one being built. In fact, can we do that now? There's a thought. Do we have the funds to do that? Because we've got the camera and then the final return. Is that the final return one? I think it is. So that's the camera final one, and that's the final biological return. So if we can leave those longer, that's probably a positive, because they're going to be the last two of those series to do. So I'm not in a hurry to do them. We've got a plans. Can I do the advanced bio? Not enough funds. I think it needs about 1,500, 1,600. It might be 2,000. We'll do this and then we'll figure it out. So let's launch it. Now, one thing you might be wondering is, you're launching these missions. Why don't you just build one craft that's got biological payload on and one with also a camera on, and then send the whole thing up with a little bit of extra mass, and then just use the same craft over and over again, or add the sounding rocket payload and then remove it and stuff? And yeah, I could have done that, but I just don't feel the need. I don't feel as though we're actually in a bit of a waiting game at the moment, waiting for our science to do. We're waiting for things to just work through, and so I'm not rushing it. I could do it. The rocket would have had to be slightly bigger. We probably had to go to a 2-stage one straight away, and the fact that we could get this done quicker was just nicer. It's a nice logical step for me, so that's where I am with it. That's how I'm thinking about it. It just seems nicer. But yeah, I could have just kept, and it would have meant that I could keep gathering science from both instruments each time. But I think we're going to get plenty of science, so that's not a big issue for me. So let's get this thing up there anyway. I need to get to 120 kilometers. That should be easy enough. Off we go. Oh, another flick off the launch pad. There's something about the bottom of this craft that causes it to flick sideways, and I'm not entirely sure what it was or is. So we're going to do this reasonably quickly. We're going to put it into 2 times speed, get this thing going, and I think, yeah, we're going to turn this over now. When we get down to that, there we go. We're going to pop it onto a 2 degree less. There we are, and we're going to see how far this goes. I would like this to get up as high as possible, as quickly as possible. I'd also like to get rid of the fairings as early as possible before we can get to like 40 kilometers, because I don't care about losing sort of drag and stuff on this one. There we go. We're going to be going up quite nicely, aren't we? And I think I want to hold it at 45 when it gets to 45. We'll just hold it at 45. It should be dead easy. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to pop it at 45, hold it there, and we'll just hold it burning in that angle. So if I got rid of the fairings now, we'd be able to start collecting biological data, is what I'm actually thinking. We're going to be over 120. Yes, we are. Well over 120. We're over 150. Wonderful. And that's us done. Superb. Right, now we're going to just decouple that, do that. There we are. The reason I've done that is because the whole thing is going to start spinning around and being annoying. So there we go. Get that going. Get it moving up. You'll see we're losing some velocity and so forth. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Right, is this thing active? It is running. It does take 15 minutes in the atmosphere to do anything. So there's a lot of science to be had, actually. Was it 15? It's a big chunk. There's a big chunk of science to be had with this. You can see here, yeah, we're getting almost a credit of science already, which is cool. And then we're going to get into the space. There we are. And we're going to start gathering space, and that's going to go up as well. We're just going to make sure that we don't run out of sample, actually. Let's do that. Is that going to tell us how much sample I've got? Yeah, it does. So we can actually see the sample go down. 109 grams. We've got 20 in there. We've got loads. We've got plenty. We'll never go through that. Of course, ideally, what will actually happen is that this craft will we'd take something like this and send it into orbit, and then it would actually, even on re-entry, would gather a lot of data on re-entry, on going into orbit and stuff like that. Well, our flight path and everything would be really good for it. So. Yeah, I mean, look at this, 14 minutes still to do in orbit. We put a decent craft up into a decent arc. We're not going to get 14 minutes. You have to think about this as multiple missions or orbit. So yeah, it's another reason why sticking one of these onto, say, a camera or a camera onto one of these to get that extra time in orbit, it just works out. And because you're going to recover it, it's sort of almost free, isn't it, for these short hops? Right, we're coming back down, and then we're going to get our second chance at getting the flying high science. We've still got 150 grams of sample worth doing, and we've only done about 50, so lots still to do. And we can just fire this through now. This should be okay. It probably would help if I armed the parachute. There we go. It just does help a little bit, doesn't it? You see, we're rotating about this point at the bottom because we've actually got mass down the bottom there. Here we go. It's going to straighten it up. We're going to slow it down a bit because I don't know how hot this is potentially going to get. Let's just check. We have actually got the mission complete. Yeah, we just got to return home. That's all right. I wonder whether... So it says this. Do you need this? It used to be, and I've done this before. It used to be in one version, it was written so that your 75 just had to be there when it was at that height. And then in a later version, you had to have that 75 all the time. I don't know if that's still the case. To me, this looks like you've just got to return home. So do we need this? I don't know. It'd be interesting to know. Maybe I'll do a little test in the future sometime. I'll start a save up, move forward and see what actually happens at this point when you start playing around with it. Because it would be good to know whether you can go up with these sort of auxiliary components and then just shed them and just bring the capsule down. Would make the craft a little bit more interesting. Because I would probably keep it attached to the rocket then, and detach just sort of the top section when you need to. Right, this is coming down. Have we seen these before? I think we've seen this return before, haven't we? I think this is our second attempt at it, the second version of it at the time we've done it. The first one was the default mission, wasn't it? Right, so we're going to just roll this all the way through. I believe you can hear lots of rockets just exploding in the background. Obviously we're testing things, or it's just the debris, just rubbish that we're getting rid of. It's not things exploding at all. There we go. Decent distance downrange. In fact, we are. Be nice to know actually how far downrange are we? Flight recorder. We are 575 kilometers downrange. So yeah, it's not going to break any records. Let me just put it that way. But it's enough to get a bit of science. So what have we actually got? Science? Oh, we can't see it because this doesn't let you see it. I forgot about that. So right, I will pop this down and then we shall see what we get from it. So we get a grand total of 5 science from that, which is lovely. That's on top of our current 2 science, takes to 7.7 science. We can get anything from the orbital, suborbital return. We got a load of funds back, 150 funds, and that's that. So we also completed the mission or the contract. So we got 100 on our thing here, and we got 21 over there. So we got 100 extra confidence, taking it to 836, and we got a little bit more on the old reputation, takes us up. So we're now at almost 50,000 a year subsidy, which is very nice. Thank you very much. I will take that. You can see we're making about 69.7 funds a time now. Let's have a look. Operations. We've got Atlatl there. We've got that one being built, that one being built. That's the final bio, and that's the final normal camera. Now, if I go forward a smidgen to finish this. So we've gone forward about 50 days or something. We've got the camera crafts almost finished. We've got the supersonic flights almost finished. We've got a bit of funds there. So what we are going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to get our advanced biological, and that's taken. Yeah, it's actually I could work out how much it is, but yeah, that basically means that we now have stacked up here everything to finish that program. In fact, that is the thing that finishes the program. If we come in here, the only thing left is that one there, and I think we can do it with that craft. So we can just sit on those if we need to. We can let them build up. We could also do, I mean, the capstone. I don't think you have to finish the program when this appears. You can keep the program going once that's done. I'm not entirely sure, so we'll see. We'll leave it a little bit longer. So we've got this one, which is we've done one, got another one to do. So one more of those, and we've got one more of these. And this one is 115 units over 140, so that should be pretty easy to do. So those 2 flights, that one, basically those 2 will finish off those things, and then we've just got the sounding rockets and the advanced thing to do. So we can keep the sounding rockets going, or we can cash in on the program. I'm not sure what you get by cashing in on the program, whether you get confidence or you get reputation. I think you should probably get a bit of both, shouldn't you? But I don't know. We've got a little bit of science built up. 7. It's not enough to do what I want to do, I don't think, because I want to go here, and that's going to... Oh, it is enough. It is enough for orbital rocketry. Ooh. So if I take that... I wanted to take that, though, didn't I? Yeah. Well, we take that. We can reorder them. We can put mature supersonic next and so forth. We get 4 science easily, I think. I think if we do another one of those biological flights, it'll give us the 4 science. So we know it'll do that. And the camera, again, will give us some, and the advanced camera probably give us nothing because it's supposed to be taken into orbit. So we need to remember that. So yeah, advanced biological sample. So this we'll get with our next batch of science. And then that's us sort of going. There is... over here, another engine. There's a few engines. We'll talk about them when we build them. We'll actually do the builds for the orbital test craft and stuff. But I want to build them using isogrid structure because it's going to save us an awful lot of mass. And for us, our tankage isn't actually very much anywhere. Our engines are going to be problematic because they're quite heavy. Although saying that, we may change from HTP and kerosene. We may go non-standard British Black Arrow to do this, but it's a very British engine we're going to be choosing if we do that. So we'll see. We may go... I haven't decided how to go orbital yet. There's a couple of options. It is not going to be an engine that you've seen before. Let me just put it that way. It's not an engine you've seen before. However, with that sort of bombshell, we've got some funds to spend and so forth. With that, from me, until the next episode, have a great one. So if that was good for you, check out on the screen right now some links. You can see other videos you might like. Check out the channel, see if there's any playlists you like. There's also some links to other content creators there you might like. Or leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, do all those things.